Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary with a knife video. Today I want to tell you about a blade that is pretty cool. This is not going to be a review. It's going to be more of an overview and a discussion, but the blade I've got for you today is a Spyderco Endura. However, it's not this Endura. I want to give a little bit of introduction first. So here's a Spyderco Endura, really classic blade, much loved. And as you know, Spyderco will often do sprint runs of various blades. They've done a number of sprint runs of the Endura, and this time they were doing one that I was really interested in. Now let me back up and just tell you that for some time, since I first started looking at getting into knives, I've kind of wanted a Damascus blade. And I've looked at the Damascus Skyline, I've looked at Damascus Sabenzas, and they're all really nice. But none of them seem to be exactly right. If I was going to get a Damascus blade, it had to be just right. And all of them, for various reasons, weren't that appealing to me. And so finally, I found out, first, of course, I saw the Delica in Damascus and titanium, and I was like, hey, that's a really sharp looking blade. And there started to be rumors, like on blade forums and different people's YouTube videos, they refer to the fact that Spyderco is going to do an Endura in Damascus and titanium. And so when I heard that about a year and a half ago or so, I guess maybe a little more than that, I started to get really excited because I thought to myself, that would be the perfect blade. That would be the Damascus blade for my collection. And I only plan to own one. I don't know, I'm not going to promise that, in 2 years down the road, you may be watching another video where I have a Damascus blade, but it's not, generally I like to collect knives that I can use and be fairly regular in their use. This is not going to be a regular carry knife for me. Okay, so finally, let's get down to business. I'm waiting finally I see a couple people have them. The place I got them from, White Mountain Knives, great company. I have great experience with them. I've got a number of things from White Mountain Knives. They're an eBay seller. Anyway, finally see that they have them in stock, and I'm like, yes, buy now. So I'm waiting for this knife to come, and it actually came really fast, as it always does from White Mountain Knives. It's like they have a special deal with the post office or something. It's ridiculous how fast they can get stuff to me. And this is what I was waiting for. Okay, I was waiting for a box like this. I've got lots of Spyderco knives. They all come in a box just like this. However, that's not what came in the mail. I got the box, I opened it up, and I thought this is what I would see inside, but instead I saw this. I was like, whoa, what's going on? This is interesting. Of course, you can see there the nice big Spyderco symbol. And so I zip this open, and inside I find education paper and this knife. I think this is a really classy touch. And you gotta consider, Spyderco didn't need to do this. They have knives that cost much more. In fact, I own knives that cost more than this that didn't come in a case like this. So it's pretty cool that they did that. And finally, I know you guys are like, Kevin, get to the knife already. Here is my Spyderco Endura in 6AL 4V titanium and 15 layer Damascus with a VG10 core. That is really cool. If you did want to use this as your EDC, that makes it possible, okay? Damascus steel is really cool looking, but it's not actually the best steel anymore. It was initially designed to combine materials of different steels. So you want a softer steel and a harder steel kind of put together to achieve good toughness and edge retention. So that was the purpose of Damascus steel initially. We don't do that in this way anymore. Now we have powdered metallurgy, so we can specify the molecular structure of the steel we're looking for and create it. And so of course that's going to be a far superior process than trying to melt down and sort of weld together two different steels. Okay, that's what Damascus is, and the interesting thing about it is it looks so cool because you've got these two different steels. Now, I will say this about Damascus, it is not stainless. So if you want to buy this knife for your EDC, and I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't, certainly it's light enough. I'll go over the specs in a second once I zoom in. Certainly it's light enough, it's definitely tough enough. I would consider this much tougher actually than my standard Endura. And it's also thinner and only a little bit heavier. So you could do that, but you have to keep in mind, although the VG10 edge is going to be stainless, you will need to keep oil on this. And I've oiled this already, and it looks a little different. When you put the oil on it, it just darkens up the dark portions on the blade. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in so you can take a close look at this blade. The camera's not cooperating as well as it should. There we go, I want to get right in. So, there it is, the Spyderco Endura in 15 layer Damascus. You can see on the back of the blade here, you can actually see the layers pretty readily. You can also see them inside the spider hole, which is really cool. So let's go over this blade one more time. It is the standard specs for an Endura, 3 3/4 inch blade, 5-inch handle. However, it weighs a little more, probably close to 5 ounces, and typical Endura is going to be under 3 ounces for you. I want you to notice as well the pocket clip on this. I know there's nothing on screen right now, it's coming. Not the pocket clip, but the lanyard hole on this, look right here. The lanyard hole is a tubed lanyard hole, and it's at the back. On the FRN Endura, the lanyard hole is quite small. It's not tubed, and it's here under the pocket clip. That's where the pocket clip got into my head. So you can see there's still a hole in the pocket clip, which is interesting, but the lanyard hole is here. Now, one of the things that I would say about this knife, and this is not exactly a complaint, but an observation, it is tapped for 4-way repositionable pocket clip. And on a knife like this, I don't think you really need to do that. You know, I understand that they wanted to stay kind of true to the spirit of the Endura, and certainly they have done that. But yeah, this would have looked a little cleaner if it weren't for these holes. Otherwise, it looks really, really good. Now, the other thing that's different, I was pointing out some differences between this and your typical Endura. The thickness on the Endura is considerably improved. Now, I'm going to put these side by side for you in a way that the pocket clips don't interfere with one another. So they're going to be kind of backwards. But see those two blades side by side, you can see a considerable difference in the thickness of those blades. Almost, you know, it's maybe not quite 1/8 of an inch, but maybe 3/32 or something. So very, very thin blade. If you're looking for that for your EDC, this would certainly be a good option. This has sort of made me interested in the stainless steel Endura, just because I'm not going to run out and get one. But if you're watching this and you're kind of thinking, hey, a stainless steel Endura might be cool, probably would be cool. It's going to have similar properties to this. It'll probably be a little bit heavier, but there's not a lot of material here, so it can't get that heavy. And you could look that up online and know the weight for sure. Anyway, there you go. That is the Spyderco Endura in Damascus with titanium handle. Really, really gorgeous knife. As I've said, this is not going to be a heavy user for me, although I have EDC'd it a little bit and I will continue to do so. It is a very functional blade. And as I said before, you could definitely buy this. If you want to sort of have an HEC blade, high-end carry, I know I'm using Not in Fancy's acronym there, but if you want a sort of a high-end carry blade, certainly this would be suitable for that. It's not so expensive that if you break it, you know, it's the end of the world, but certainly it's expensive enough. Anyway, really, really awesome blade. Glad to be able to show it to you. I'm going to try to zoom in one more time and just give you a really, really good close-up, there we go, of that blade. So there's the blade. Try and catch the light properly so you can see all those layers. I think of all the Damascuses that I've seen, just in terms of standard Damascus, I know there's, Chad Nichols, and then there's all the various patterns that you can get. In just a sort of random pattern Damascus, the pattern on these Spydercos is about my favorite. Look how awesome that looks. So I absolutely love the way this knife turned out. I will say this one more thing. When it came, it was a little rough. Partially that's because these layers do create sort of a rougher surface than you're used to feeling. Okay, it definitely feels very different than than this blade. You know, this is just perfectly silky smooth. You can feel the grind lines just a little bit. In this, you're not feeling those grind lines. What you're feeling is just that slight, almost chalky texture because of the layers of steel there, okay? So it almost feels like if you had an aluminum handled knife with sort of a chalky texture, it kind of feels like that. So anyway, great blade. I was really excited to share this with you. I'm really, really glad to have this. As I said, as soon as I saw that these were coming out, I was looking for one, and I was a little frustrated that I missed. Blade HQ had a sign-up list, and I was a little disappointed that I missed that. However, it turned out I went with a better option anyway, because if you're in Canada, it's really expensive to ship from Blade HQ. So even a lot of times when Blade HQ has a really good sale on, it still ends up not being that good of a deal by the time you pay for shipping if you're here in Canada. So great blade. I'm really, really digging it. Of course, the Endura is a great blade already, and so now to take this very classic, very, very proven design and offer it in these gorgeous materials is a great move on Spyderco's part. By the way, I will say one more thing I'm really excited about from Spyderco, and now don't you guys all go and compete with me for one. If you've seen that Blade HQ is going to have a Blade HQ exclusive Para 2, that is really exciting news. I saw, by the way, I'm a little apprehensive. I really want one, but I don't know if I want to say it out loud because they are going to be super hard to get your hands on, I think, unless they do a larger run than a typical, you know, a lot of times Spyderco sprint runs are 1,200 units. Maybe Blade HQ will do more. I kind of hope they do, because that's going to be a hard knife to lay your hands on. The thread on Blade forums about it is like every single person, like, I can't wait to get one, I can't wait to get one, I can't wait. I'm like, great, they're all sold right here, and you know, it's only this one thread or this one discussion on the forum. Anyway, there you go, guys. I'll talk to you soon. I do have one more video I want to get out there today, so look for the Zero Tolerance 0452 review coming up. Talk to you later. Bye.